Do you remember your first band or choir performance?
After weeks of work, your moment to put your talents to the test, not just in front of family or friends or maybe your mirror. Tonight in a KWQC original, the stories behind the success of a local chorus and how one by one they found ways to overcome, then came together with one voice.
Because of a medical issue, I couldn't dance anymore, but that's when I found my voice.
A voice that moved Isabel to find ways to move others facing similar setbacks and challenges.
From the moment you get the music, you're constantly studying it, and not just the notes and rhythms, but the text and the meaning behind everything.
For Riley,
I have anxiety, so I've always been really nervous around big crowds, so at first the idea of 602 people in a choir was a little unnerving.
His autism made performing seem out of reach until a mandatory middle school choir class changed everything.
I'll be quite honest with you, I probably wouldn't have if I didn't know what it was, and when I went in there I remember thinking, oh boy, choir. But turns out that was one of the best things that I ever could have had in my life.
Through music, he found the strength to face his fears.
There's not a whole lot of football players in choir.
Jaden juggled football and choir. Used the lessons from both to persevere.
His sophomore year and junior year, not getting it, I knew I really had to work hard for the goal I wanted to reach.
Glory, glory, Keegan wants to be on Broadway someday, but first had to see if he really has what it takes.
I made it my freshman year and my sophomore year, and my junior year I did not get in. That was very hard. I was in shock.
All of these kids were part of a group taken to compete for All-State Chorus in Washington, Iowa, under the direction of Lori Potts, who has taught at North Scott for the past 24 years. They practiced together as one, competed in groups from duets, trios, and quartets. Then came the waiting game. Would their names appear on the cafeteria wall?
They post it on the wall on a big piece of butcher black paper, so the kids are screaming, they're yelling, they're crying.
Searching for who would make it, who would not. And one by one, North Scott names appeared.
The first round we had 13 kids that got in, and our school record is 11. So I knew at that point that we had broken the school record.
And then, in a moment that still has her on cloud 9, even more names, 6 more, bringing the total to 19.
It's definitely a career high, and it put our program on the map. So there was a lot of directors that have been coming to me wanting to know what we feed these kids, what we're doing, and what the ideas that they can take away from us.
The students are taking away a life-changing achievement. Some plan to move on in music, finding more ways to move others.
Maybe having someone tell me that it moved them in some way.
And what about the teacher who has already touched so many lives with her talents?
It's right at the top, so it doesn't get much better than that.
The crescendo leading to the grand finale, at least until next year comes, with new students, with new challenges, ready to find their voices. And we understand another local school, Pleasant Valley, also had more than a dozen students, 18 in all, make the list for chorus. And thanks to Kevin Core for his talents in shooting and editing this story.